The rusted school bus groaned to a halt at the edge of the desolate forest, its tires sinking into the gravel. Mr. Thornton, our history teacher, wore a sinister smile as he announced a spontaneous change of plans for our field trip. Instead of the anticipated museum visit, we were led towards the looming entrance of Ravenhurst Mansion, a decaying relic hidden within the gnarled woods. As we stepped off the bus, a chill swept through the air, and the once vibrant sunlight seemed to dim. The mansion, with its broken windows and sagging roof, exuded an unsettling energy. Mr. Thornton assured us that this unexpected detour would provide a lesson in history like no other. The creaking door welcomed us into a dimly lit foyer, where the air hung heavy with the scent of dampness and decay. Dust particles danced in the weak beams of light that struggled to penetrate the mansion's interior. Unease settled over the group as we followed Mr. Thornton through the labyrinthine corridors, the floorboards groaning beneath our hesitant footsteps. The air inside the mansion grew colder with each step, and whispers echoed through the dilapidated halls, as though the very walls harbored secrets waiting to be unveiled. The group exchanged nervous glances, but Mr. Thornton pressed on, a strange determination in his eyes. Our journey led us to a grand hall, adorned with faded portraits of stern-faced figures from a bygone era. Mr. Thornton halted before a particularly ominous painting, a woman with hollow eyes and a twisted smile. He spoke of Lady Ravenhurst, the mansion's original owner, rumored to have dabbled in dark arts and unspeakable rituals. As Mr. Thornton delved into the tales of Lady Ravenhurst's descent into madness, the temperature plummeted, and a spectral mist materialized in the room. A soft, haunting melody filled the air, as if a long-forgotten piano played from the shadows. Suddenly, the portraits lining the walls came alive, their eyes following our every move. The once still figures twisted into contorted poses, their ghostly forms dancing to the eerie melody. Panic seized the group, and we stumbled backward, attempting to flee the possessed hall. But the mansion had other plans. Doors slammed shut, trapping us in the grand hall. The ghostly figures advanced, their ethereal fingers reaching out towards us. The temperature dropped to an unbearable chill, and the melody warped into a discordant cacophony that echoed through the mansion's haunted chambers. Mr. Thornton, his demeanor transformed from authoritative to terrified, fumbled for an exit. The grand hall seemed to close in on us, its walls pulsating with an otherworldly force. Whispers turned into desperate cries as the ghostly figures closed in. In a burst of frenzied courage, I lunged for the nearest door, and to my surprise, it swung open. We stumbled into a moonlit courtyard, gasping for breath. The grand hall's haunting melody echoed behind us as we sprinted away from Ravenhurst Mansion, leaving behind the haunted echoes of a field trip gone horribly wrong. The wind howled through the skeletal branches as our school bus trundled down a narrow, winding road, leading us to the long-forgotten village of Hollow Creek. The air crackled with an unsettling energy, and the oppressive gray clouds above seemed to press down on us. Excitement mingled with trepidation as we approached the desolate town that time had left behind. Our teacher, Mr. Anderson, was an adventurous soul with a penchant for the mysterious. He regaled us with tales of Hollow Creek's dark past, stories of a cursed well that whispered to those who dared to listen, promising forbidden knowledge and untold horrors. As the bus rolled to a stop in front of the village, the dilapidated buildings loomed like silent sentinels. The village square was overgrown with weeds, and a thick fog curled around the remnants of once bustling shops. Mr. Anderson, undeterred by the eerie atmosphere, led us towards the infamous well. Its stone walls were weathered, and the black water within seemed to swallow the feeble light that dared to touch its surface. In hushed tones, Mr. Anderson explained the legend. Those who peered into the well would glimpse the future, but at a terrible cost. Intrigued, the bravest among us approached the well, drawn by the forbidden allure of the unknown. As I gazed into the inky depths, the world around me blurred, and a chilling whisper caressed my ears. Visions flashed before my eyes, scenes of unspeakable horror, my own demise unfolding in grotesque detail. A cold sweat broke out on my forehead, and I stumbled backward, shaken by the macabre images that lingered in my mind. The air grew thick with tension, as my classmates took their turns at the cursed well. Each one emerged pale and wide-eyed, haunted by the harrowing glimpses of their fate. The once curious expressions had transformed into expressions of dread. As the last of my classmates succumbed to the well's malevolent whispers, a distant, mournful howl echoed through the desolate village. The fog thickened, shrouding us in an impenetrable veil. Panic set in as we realized we were no longer alone. Shadowy figures emerged from the mist, their forms indistinct and menacing. The air turned frigid as icy fingers grazed our skin, and guttural whispers surrounded us. The village seemed to come alive with unseen entities, their presence a manifestation of the horrors foretold by the cursed well. In a frenzied attempt to escape the encroaching darkness, we stumbled over uneven cobblestones, our terrified footsteps echoing through the ghostly village. The once silent buildings now moaned with the weight of unseen spirits, and the oppressive fog twisted into grotesque shapes that seemed to reach out for us. As we reached the outskirts of Hollow Creek, the fog lifted, revealing the abandoned village bathed in an otherworldly light. The well stood as a silent witness to the horrors it had unleashed upon us. Mr. Anderson, his face etched with remorse, led us back to the bus, but the shadows of Hollow Creek clung to our every step. The bus roared to life, leaving behind the accursed village. The visions from the well lingered, haunting our thoughts like a relentless specter. The field trip that had promised adventure had become a descent into the abyss, a journey that none of us would ever forget. The school bus rattled to a stop beside the overgrown trail, its tires sinking into the damp earth. Our teacher, Mrs. Harris, wore an uneasy smile as she informed us of a change in plans. The museum we were meant to visit was closed unexpectedly, and instead, we found ourselves at the entrance of an ancient forest rumored to be haunted. Undeterred by our apprehension, Mrs. Harris led the way into the dense thicket, the tall trees closing in around us like silent sentinels. As we delved deeper, the sunlight struggled to penetrate the thick canopy, casting eerie shadows that danced on the forest floor. We arrived at a clearing, the air thick with an otherworldly stillness. In the center stood an ancient well, moss-covered and foreboding. Mrs. Harris, her excitement palpable, explained that legend spoke of a spirit residing within, one with the power to reveal glimpses of the future. Curiosity battled with unease as we gathered around the well. Mrs. Harris produced a tarnished silver coin and instructed us to make a wish before tossing it in. The coin clinked against the stone walls, its echo swallowed by the ominous depths below. Suddenly, the forest seemed to hold its breath. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying with it an eerie chant that sent shivers down our spines. The air around the well shimmered, and an otherworldly figure materialized, its ethereal form bathed in an eerie glow. The spirit spoke in hushed tones, revealing secrets we were not meant to know. It foretold tragedy, each prophecy more unsettling than the last. Fear gripped our hearts as we realized the well harbored a malevolent force, a twisted oracle feeding on the fear it instilled. As the last prophecy echoed through the clearing, the forest came alive with a cacophony of ghostly wails. Shadows twisted and contorted, forming ghastly shapes that lurked in the corners of our vision. Panic set in, and we sprinted back towards the trail, the haunting chorus of the forest following in our wake. The bus, seemingly untouched by the supernatural force, awaited us at the trailhead. Mrs. Harris wore a haunted expression, her earlier excitement replaced by a solemn awareness of the darkness we had unleashed. As the bus pulled away from the cursed forest, the echoes of the spirit's prophecies lingered in our minds. The field trip, meant for education and adventure, had become a journey into the unknown, leaving us with a chilling realization that some secrets are better left undiscovered. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more scary horror stories. See you on the flip side.